and Gyeonggi province have been flooded, leaving behind almost 5,000 victims. While efforts are underway to restore these homes, an evacuation order has been issued for the northern parts of Gyeonggi province. Besides Seoul, Dongducheon, Paju, and Gwangju in Gyeonggi province were some of the hardest hit areas.
A team of about 7,200 public servants and volunteers was dispatched to such a district in Seoul for emergency recovery efforts. Landmines from Wumyeon Mountain may have drifted down in the flood, and they will try to find and remove them. And 1,200 public servants are currently working in Gwangju of Gyeonggi province to drain water.
760 hectares of rice fields have been inundated since the start of the downpour on Tuesday. And because of the sharp rise in water levels, streams and rivers like Cheonggye Stream and the Han River in Seoul have been closed to public access. As of Thursday afternoon, Dongducheon was hit with 661 millimeters of rain, Seoul with 534, and Munsan in Gyeonggi province with 489 millimeters since Tuesday. Heavy rain of up to 150 millimeters is in the forecast for Friday morning. However, the National Emergency Management Agency says its relief and rescue operations will continue to be in full operation. Kim Hyun-ji, Arirang News. And now that the weather has calmed up a little bit, it's time for rescue and relief efforts. Tens of thousands of relief workers have been mobilized to cope with the damage caused by historic rains here in the nation's capital and surrounding areas. Our Kim Han-un has more on joint recovery efforts of the military, police, fire departments, and volunteers. Recovery efforts are still underway in parts of Seoul affected by the landslide, and the surrounding areas near Wumyeon Mountain make up the worst-hit region in the nation's capital. Here, roads are closed as more than 5,000 emergency relief personnel from the Army, police, and fire department worked overnight to clear the road covered with mud and debris. The military official in charge says the combined recovery efforts are in full swing.
Because all non-combat forces are fully engaged in these relief efforts, we expect to finish most of the work today and tomorrow.
But it was not only the roads that were affected by the landslide. The mud flowed down into nearby residential areas, engulfing the balconies of low-rise apartments. And the residents of these apartments woke up to piles of mud in the morning that flowed from the mountains, and help from the military was greatly appreciated at a crucial time like this. Although these residents' homes were not directly affected, entrances and parking lots were covered with piles of mud. Some residents shared some motherly love to the hardworking soldiers. I was worried about the mud and didn't know what to do, but I'm so thankful for the soldiers' help. The police from surrounding districts busily shoveled the muck, while the fire department sprayed down the mud with giant hoses. Among the relief workers were also civilian volunteers who simply came out to lend out a helping hand. There were housewives, students, and residents from surrounding districts.
I saw a volunteer recruiting notice on my friend's Facebook, so I applied because I wanted to lend some help.
The Korean Army reported that more than 35,000 military personnel were dispatched nationwide for recovery efforts so far, while Korea's National Disaster Information Center says more than 10,000 of its personnel have been working emergency shifts since Tuesday. Kim Han-un, Arirang News. And President Lee Myung-bak visited a flood control office in Seoul to be briefed on the situation. The president said safety standards need to be raised to prevent the kind of damage Korea has seen in the past few days. Kang Seok-ho reports.
As heavy downpours continue to hit Seoul and its surrounding regions on Thursday, President Lee Myung-bak visited the Han River Flood Control Office in the capital to monitor the latest situation. Following a report by the control office head on the release of water by dams located upstream, and also on the rising water levels of the Han River, President Lee said safety standards dealing with natural disasters in urban centers should be improved, especially with the frequent occurrences of severe weather due to climate change. President Lee also spoke with the chief of the Korea Meteorological Administration on the phone to receive up-to-date information on the weather forecast and advisories. The Korean president kept his visit brief so as to not disrupt emergency responders as they worked. While returning from the trip, he ordered his aides to work on a new plan that will help prevent damage from natural disasters, as well as look into the ongoing cleanup and rebuilding process. Kang Seok-ho, Arirang News.
And as you've seen in the past few days, thousands of cars here in Seoul were flooded and many ruined by the rain. But our Hwang Ji-hye tells us that much of the worst damage is really preventable.
Heavy rain continued for more than 3 days here in Korea, ravaged capital Seoul, and severely damaged thousands of cars.
The water filled with my car in less than 3 minutes. I barely escaped from it.
The National Emergency Management Agency says that when water reaches up to the bumper of a car, drivers should shift to first or second gear and push through the flooded area in one go. After passing through the water, the agency recommends drawing the brake line by gently stepping on the brakes several times. However, when the car